At the beginning, I'd like to tell you what local Japanese people, including past myself, think and behave towards internationals. Me personally dislike saying foreigners due to the strong expression I feel, so you will hear internationals instead of foreigner in my program. Okay, let's talk about their behaviors and why loneliness comes to internationals. Firstly, they have an expectation that most of internationals will not stay in Japan long term. In fact, international usually leave, and the ratio of international is just only 2% of the whole population of Japan. So then, mental boundary comes. For Japanese, it's like a similar feeling as a new coworker joins the company you are working for. I'm sure you don't expect coworkers to stay in the company long term like for 10 years, right? And tend not to have dialogues to create a deep relationship. Let's move on negative bias. Compared to Japanese standards, Japanese thinks internationals have low-level social manners and high physical aggression. Because the media mainly shows negative international news on TV or something, like demonstration, throwing fire at police, and physical combat or strong arguments in public areas. So local Japanese are kinda scared of being with internationals subconsciously. Additionally, they have almost never experienced communicating with internationals due to the population rate as I mentioned. The first time I had a conversation with internationals was when I was 20 years old. My classmates, teachers, and relatives are all from Japan, so I was also really scared of the fact I didn't know what I didn't know. Plus, as you know, Japanese are a bit perfectionist. Unfortunately, we just study English to pass exams, not for communication. So, locals hesitate to talk to you guys to prevent picking the wrong words to protect their perfection and communicational issues like quarrels to keep the harmony they want. Then, the well-known Japanese hospitality side comes up negatively. They start feeling guilty like I'm not making you enjoy. You might be happier with someone good at English. Once it happens, he or she starts reducing the time being with you and you will feel you are not welcomed anymore, although no one does anything bad. Eventually, most internationals will give up on settling down in Japan and return to home. If so, the international population cannot be increased, then the negative circle will occur again when new internationals come to Japan. This is my point of view, and I have no doubt about this circle. But don't worry, I have solutions and hopes for you. Do you want to know about it? If so, let's move on to the next page. As I explained, you will need to deal with their prejudice, but no worries, we will be well prepared for it through working on our challenge from now. Against the expectation, you will not stay in Japan long term. You will practice how to make the perfect first impression and how to announce your dream uniquely by some special tools I invented and using for my traveling. Secondly, against the boundary, small talk only. I will support you to learn how to find your best local friends and communities, and also proper actions to show how reliable and hardworking you are based on Japanese values. Third one, against the hesitation, afraid of communicational mistakes. Unfortunately, we cannot change their communicational skill, but you can create a comfy atmosphere everywhere you visit if you acquire stable mentality like inner peace and resilience by my coaching and self-dialogues workshops. And before explaining about the best first impression, I also gotta explain about friendship boundary. This is a brief diagram of the friendship boundary that local Japanese people have against you, especially similar or younger aged Japanese. You might be already tired to hear many crucial realities, but again, no worries. That's why I'm here. Please relax and follow me. By the end of today's lecture, you will learn about the roadmap to overcome these 4 friendship boundaries. So the first one is a boundary to become a social friend. My definition of social friend is people who belongs to the same community like classmates or neighbors. Just greeting each other, making small talk often. Of course, if you have some troubles, they will gladly help you, but not always caring each other. The second boundary is becoming a friend. Friends are close enough to make jokes, but do not engage in strong exchange such as sarcasm. Also, there is also no dialogues, and they are only meeting up for having fun, like when they have events. And they tend to not open up their honest feeling or ideas to not be disliked. I guess many Japanese lovers who already had moved to Japan are stopped at this stage. The third one is a boundary to become a close friend, which is definitely in the sense of bro or sis. I will explain the details another day, but due to the definition of success based on the Japanese competitive society, they don't show weakness, as they sometimes judge others and themselves whether losers or not. You may feel a bit distant, although you think they are already your bro or sis. I guess this third boundary doesn't exist in Western culture based on my traveling experiences. Okay, we still have one more boundary. The last one is to become best friends. This relationship makes them to show their weaknesses, even trauma, and talk about anything. One of my beliefs to overcome the first boundary is making the best first impression with proper Japanese skills and Japanese way of humbleness. Let's go to the next chapter about our way of language study for the proper Japanese skills. The Japanese language can be broadly divided into keigo and tameguchi. Keigo is a polite expression. Tameguchi is casual way of expression and is used with close friends and best friends. There are also 3 types of keigo: sonkeigo, kenjogo, teinego. I will explain the reasons later, but in this program, we will focus on learning teinego and tameguchi only. Let me show you the differences between teinego and the other 2. Sonkei in sonkeigo means respect or more like admire. This is a way to show your respect to someone who has higher status or achieved success in the past. Kenjo in kenjogo means give initiative and is a way of communicating by putting your status below the person's position in the social hierarchy. In my opinion, kenjogo makes others feel winning and liking your humbleness. It's like a situation you're giving away to others while driving, and they will like your behavior. The word teinei in teinego means being gentle, and it's a way of speaking that makes the other person feel good like a gentleman does, even though you are in the same position as the other person. Tameguchi is also used for people who have the same level of status. Tame means same level, and guchi means a mouth. So same conversational level and no concerns about communicational mistakes you need. Now, let me tell you why we focus on teinego and tameguchi. One of the reasons we will specialize in learning teinego and tameguchi is because Japanese people have a prejudice that internationals cannot master 3 forms of keigo. Especially local Japanese assume sonkeigo and kenjogo are based on Japanese culture, not found in other culture. So, you can make local Japanese amazed enough if you master teinego and tameguchi. Therefore, as long as you can master teinego, you will have a high opportunity in job interview also. Of course, it's amazing to have N1 or something. Please keep on studying your way, but there are other job hunting ways don't need JLPT things, so no worries if you don't have it yet. I will explain the other ways another day. Also, Teinego has the effect of making your friends open up to you. Don't you feel difficult to become close friends with a person who always behaving and speaking too politely? To become best friends, even me, as a native Japanese, was asking friends like, would you like to talk with me in casual way, Tameguchi? Once I felt I was mentally close enough with them. I know it sounds weird, but this is how it is. However, if you are younger than them, or if both of you are over 40 years old, I highly recommend you to continue speaking in Teinego, because it is easier to become considered as a good and mature person, and stable for Japanese society. You never can be too careful with the age hierarchy. And our aim for Japanese study is to impress local Japanese like, wow, you are unlike other internationals. You are studying Japanese accurate and deeply. So the key points are using spoken Japanese and correct pitch accent, as shown in the chart on this page. To be honest, most Japanese have never heard of JLPT. Also, even if you have N1, they often consider that it doesn't prove you're experienced when you lack the key points. This is because even if Japanese people have qualifications or high score on English tests like Eiken and TOEIC, they still don't have the confidence to use English for real communication. They will look at you in the same way as they think about themselves. Let's look at the difference between spoken and written Japanese. Please look at the right side. Examples of written Japanese are da, de aru. In manga and anime, it is used in verbal thoughts and reactions. In novels or drama, it is used in one-way communication, like when a character is making a strong point. So when internationals speak written Japanese in conversation, they are judged that you have learned Japanese from pop culture only. Therefore, from the perspective of textbook-loving Japanese, you will be classified as a beginner or hobby learner every first encounter with local Japanese, unless you are aware of spoken style. But I know it's difficult to know whether what is spoken or written style, due to some dialect existed also. So, I will offer you my own workshops later. But before we go to the workshop, let's learn about the importance of correct pitch accent. I hope this example shows how important correct pitch accent and volumes are. On the left, it is when boiled egg is spoken in correct Japanese. However, if you have an incorrect pitch accent, it sounds like boys' grandchildren. Now, look at the red dot above. The size of red circles represent volume. Where the circle is large is where you should speak at the strong volume. I'm going to speak a little bit. ゆで卵、ゆで卵、ゆで卵、ゆで卵。Local Japanese won't mention your mistakes because of their kind of politeness, but please remember that they are judging you in their mind. It is kind of similar feeling of a native English speaker teasing a foreigner's English. And even in the most famous Japanese, konnichiwa, mistakes are often made. The most common mistake I hear is the right side of the incorrect pitch accent. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa. However, the correct one is the left side. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa. if you don't want your Japanese skill underestimated, please be aware of the correct pitch accent and volume while studying Japanese. Now, let me explain my workshop to create your special customized study material. You will acquire Teineigo, Tameguchi, spoken Japanese, and correct pitch accent based on your life story through this fun video creation workshop. There are 5 steps. First, you will decide who you will contact to make connection based on my instruction guide on the next page. Next, you will answer some questions related to the script of the video and send your answer to me. Then, based on your answers, I will create 2 scripts, one with Teineigo and the other with Tameguchi. I, a native speaker, will record the script in my voice and make Teineigo video and Tameguchi video with details of correct pitch accent. After I send the 2 types of practicing video, I will coach you regularly to correct your Japanese by online coaching and another chapters. We will also make more videos for practicing on different topics, but first, let's make a fun video based on your life story. So, this is first step. If you already have the idea about the person you want to send a fan video, you can move on the next page. If not, I prepare this guideline to help you to pick a person depends on what you love Japan. After you confirm the left of the chart, you can Google or use social medias to find out who is suitable for your curiosity and address it according to the right side of this chart. Before we go to the next page, I want you to imagine the situation I will explain. So the situation is like this. Right now, you just arrived at the airport in Japan for an appointment with a picked person because you already sent a fan video and inspired the person successfully. Then, suddenly, at the arrival exit, a Japanese TV crew asks you, what brings you to come to Japan? Are you finishing imagining it? If so, let's look at the question for the TV crew. This is how we will create fun videos based on your life story as your study material for spoken style, Teineigo, Tameguchi, and correct pitch accent. It is more like a way of learning by doing, and I know this is more practical for our aims rather than using textbooks, and also fun. And also, what if TV crew asked you the question for real? You could say you're not in your mood, of course. The questions I asked were for just making this video easier, but it is totally up to you if it happened for real. And here are the ways to break the 4 boundaries I mentioned earlier. The first one requires learning Teineigo to help you to make the good first impression. The second one is making proper actions. This is to prove your personality and manner are nice enough to make the harmony together, and how humble and hardworking you are for the community and your dream. The third boundary is the Tameguchi. This is necessary to make them as a close friend. As I mentioned before, you also might feel a boundary to be close friend with a person who always speaks to polite or business way, right? I will tell you the other requirements to become a close friend another day, but let's go to the fourth one. To become best friends, it is important to share life experience together. I assume anime fans have already seen or understood, but the best way is working together towards some goals. If so, the memories you share will bring you from a close friend to a best friend. But please be careful. This is a way to deal with Japanese who are the same age or younger than you. You should not aim to become friends with someone older than you. It depends on his or her personality, but you cannot use tameguchi and the same behaviors. Instead, I would like you to learn about senpai-kohai relationship. Let me explain what the senpai-kohai relationship is like. First, let me define senpai and kohai. Senpai is everyone who joined in the community before you, and the kohai is all those who joined the community after you. One of the good points of the senpai-kohai relationship is that senpai is willing to give guidance to kohai and support kohai's lack of ability. In addition, there is a culture of treating meals and sharing mature life perspectives for kohai for free. They are trying to pass the kindness they have received from their senpai in the past to the next generation. And there are a few things I want you to remember. From the day you arrive in Japan, you will be the most unexperienced kohai of making harmony in the Japanese society. So please be humble and observe first how the society moves as the youngest kohai. Also, the average age in Japan is 49 years old. So the amount of life possibility and satisfaction in Japan depends on how much being liked by local Japanese over 40 or 50-ish or older than you. Based on my life experience, I highly recommend you to follow the method I will tell you on the next 2 pages. See the illustration. By a good impression with Teinego, you can break the first boundary and you are accepted as a newcomer in the community. A similar situation is when you join a company as an intern and the senior member welcome you. From the senior member's point of view, you are seen as less experienced in skills and life. They will greet you and be friendly, of course, but they will not discuss you on the same level or open up to you immediately. Next, let's take a look at the proper actions for breaking the second boundary. There are 6 steps. Through these steps, you can be a favorite kohai that senpai wants to support, encourage, and sometimes spoil. One thing I have noticed in my travel is that internationals, especially Western people, tend not to ask for advice to others because they wish to create their own life without any tips from others, despite facing a life crisis. If you have this mindset, please abandon it in order to fit in Japan. Because this is exactly the opposite of Japanese humbleness. I will give you more details on another day, but now let's look at the steps. The first step is to define your own goals, not just to move to Japan. Creating an ideal image of your lifestyle in Japan, we will work this on day 2. Secondly, you will talk about your goal to senpai in daily conversations. Third, you will actually make efforts towards your goal. By showing this effort, your reliability in senpai will increase. The fourth is to ask for advice to senpai, how you can overcome the difficulties you are facing in achieving your dream. The next one is actually trying the advice you received from senpai and reporting the results with your appreciation or asking advanced question again to the senpai. So one of the best ways to open their mindset is to show them respect by asking and following their advice. I will give you more details another day. How did you feel about day 1? I hope you feel ready to achieve your dream with me. On day 2, I will provide self-understanding workshops which will help you to understand your current location and ideal goal image for customizing the best route to get the goal. Even if you had your current location and your goal, you will most likely die on the way when you don't know how to get there. That's why I'm here to create your best plan to achieve goal. Today, I told you only the cruel reality of Japan, but hopefully you enjoyed knowing the stuff too. I promise I will lead you as serious as you are. And at the same time, I hope that we can be friends and work on your dream together. For making our lives more brighter, let's do our best. I'm looking forward to get to know you better on day 2. See you on day 2.